Good afternoon, it's meteorologist Michael Fecka. Welcome back to the 2:30 afternoon weather update. We do this every day during the work week just to give you guys another heads up on what we can expect for the rest of our day in terms of the weather and what we can expect as we go through the rest of this week. We stream it out to all of our streaming platforms as well as to Facebook Live and YouTube Live. So if you are joining us from either of those platforms, please feel free to leave a question or a comment down below. Hopefully I'll be able to address any questions or comments as I go through the forecast, but if not, I'll go through at the very end and see if I can address anything individually for you. So let's get started here with our headlines. What are we keeping our eyes on here for the next several days? Well, for the rest of the day today, it's going to stay quiet. We do have some upper level energy that's swinging in from the north, so that's why we're seeing some of those puffy cumulus clouds billow up through the afternoon here. So we've gone partly cloudy across the tri-state. We'll continue to cool down here through the next couple of days with temperatures topping out well below average. And then as we get towards the weekend, it looks like it may be impacted by some rain chances there, especially for the second half of Memorial Day weekend. So I'll break down all those details here coming up in just a second, but here's a look at our current temperatures. Most of us are sitting in the upper 60s to right around 70 degrees. It is 70 in Evansville, 74 down towards Paducah. Some cloud cover to our north, keeping temperatures much cooler to our north up towards central Indiana, 58 in Indianapolis, and 79 further to the south there in Nashville. Now, comparing that to yesterday, if you remember, it got pretty warm and pretty humid ahead of those thunderstorms. So we're actually around 10 degrees below where we were at this point just yesterday. So definitely feels a lot more comfortable, a lot cooler out there. The breeze, I know it's a little windy at times, but the breeze feels wonderful as well. So if you can get outside for an afternoon stroll or maybe have some dinner on the back patio, I recommend you do that because it's beautiful out there. And here's a look at our temperatures so far for the month of May. We started off a little bit on the rough side. So for that first week, we had some well below average temperatures topping out only in the 50s. And then since then, we've warmed back up into the 70s and we've topped out in the 80s consistently through much of last week and even as we got into this week. But here we're going to start to cool down for the next several days, well below average, possibly only topping out in the 60s by Friday. So here's a look at our precipitation so far for the month of May. We've had a lot of wet days here, and a lot of that precipitation fell within that first week of May. If you remember, we had that cutoff low that kind of just sat and spin over the same area, and that gave us a couple of days of some sizable rainfall. And then, of course, we've had several thunderstorm events, severe weather events come through where we've picked up a good inch and up to an inch, maybe even inch and a half in some spots on those days. So yesterday we picked up 1.5 inches of rainfall from some of those thunderstorms. Now, looking at our stats for the entire month here, rain today, we didn't get any, so that's a 0, but precipitation for the entire month, we've already accumulated around 5 inches of rainfall, and that puts us at around 1.34 inches above where we should be. April, May are one of our wettest months. Spring months are oftentimes the wettest here in the U.S. And then looking at our precip for the whole entire year, we are well above average for that as well, coming in at 6¼ inches above where we should be, putting us at 26.22 inches for the year. And our temperatures have now gone slightly above average. So our average temperature is around 66.4, which is just a degree shy above where we should be. So and speaking of some of our past weather here, looking at the storms that moved through on Friday, last Friday, of course, we had that one supercell that was very, very strong. It actually started back out towards Williamson County in southern Illinois, and it produced 4 different tornadoes. There was an EF4 damage observed in Williamson County, just south of Marion, and then it weakened to an EF1, and then as it crossed into Gallatin County, it strengthened over Eagle Creek as an EF2 storm, and then as we got through Eagle Creek into Bowlesville, peak wind speeds were estimated at around 115 miles per hour. Track length was around 10 miles and its max width was around 50 yards. Now looking at our tornado that moved through the Morganfield area, again, a part of that same supercell, but that tornado had cycled up and then back down several different times. So this time it fell back down over Union County and it started moving eastward towards Morganfield, just off US 60 there, and it observed EF3 damage confirmed there. So peak wind speeds of 155 miles per hour are estimated. Track length was just shy of 10 miles, and the max width was around 500 yards at its widest. And we do know a lot of folks had their homes heavily damaged, if not completely destroyed, in the Morganfield area. So they are still recovering from that storm system. So hoping and wishing for a speedy recovery for you folks down there in Union County. So here's a look at our Doppler radar right now. It's pretty quiet. We've got a few clouds to our north, partly cloudy across the tri-state in general, but not really tracking out any rain in the area right now. 70 in Evansville, 71 in Owensboro, 69 in Henderson, and around 73 in Madisonville. Much cooler there in Jasper, only 66 with that cloud cover. Now, we do have a lot of graduations coming up, not only for today, also for tomorrow, and then on Friday. But today, any graduation ceremonies, last days that we have, I think you'll be good to go. Again, it's going to be pretty breezy out there. Through the rest of this evening, we could see gusts up to 25 miles per hour, but temperatures will hang out in the lower 70s, so it'll be really comfortable and cool for any ceremonies the rest of this afternoon or into this evening. Temperatures will drop down into the lower 50s for our overnight lows with mostly clear skies. Winds will be out of the west-northwest between 5 to 8 miles per hour, and then as we get into Thursday, it's going to be cooler again, 68 for our high, partly to mostly cloudy at some points, and again, a few spot showers possible as we get later on into the afternoon and into the evening. But yeah, main story there is that it's going to be a lot cooler out there. So very refreshing for the end of our work week. But tracking everything out here on our future radar through the rest of this afternoon, just seeing some more partly cloudy skies trickle on in from the north. Not really expecting any precipitation. And then those clouds will start to break up overnight, becoming mostly clear. And we'll wake up Thursday morning to mostly sunny skies. And I think we'll hold on to that through the first half of the day. It's not until we get later on into the afternoon and into the evening hours of tomorrow that we start to see some moisture drop down from the north. And as that happens, we're going to see an increase in cloud cover and then the chance for some sprinkles or even some spot showers as we close out the day Thursday, and then we dry out again overnight and into Friday. So nothing major here to close out the end of the work week, which is great news. We'll dry out again for Friday entirely, so we're not concerned with any precipitation then. And then it looks like the weekend, just a few days ago, it was always a little bit iffy, but now it's becoming a little bit more certain that we are going to get impacted by at least some shower activity. So Saturday, I think, will be our drier day of the Memorial Day weekend, but Sunday looks to be the wettest, and then some lingering showers possible Monday and into Tuesday. So let me go ahead and show you what you guys can expect here on the longer range European model. Here we are Saturday. This is early in the morning, so 4 a.m. We're quiet out there. We're clear. We've got high pressure in place, but we've got some mess off to our southwest. And that mess, unfortunately, looks like it's going to be active to our west, and we could just be grazed by a couple of those pulses as we go through the weekend here. So we'll stay dry through the majority of our Sunday. It's not until we get later on into Sunday afternoon and into Sunday night that we start to see some shower activity work back in. Now, this model actually did just update. So right now it's actually showing maybe an isolated shower Saturday, but that'll be about it until we get into Sunday. So maybe Saturday trending a little bit drier right now, but Sunday still trending the wettest of the weekend here. So it looks like we'll have an area of low pressure building well off to our west over Oklahoma. We've got a stationary front that's kind of stretched out to the east across the tri-state. So that stationary front is going to be the trigger point for some of those showers and even a few thunderstorms as we go through the day on Sunday. However, at this point in time, just taking an early glance at any sort of severe weather parameters, nothing looks overly impressive for any sort of severe weather setup over the weekend. So it looks like this may just end up being rain and some thunderstorms for Sunday. And then it looks like we start to dry out a little bit for Sunday night, and then we start to see some spotty showers return through the day on Monday. And again, nothing looks overly scary or impactful with that setup, other than it's just going to be a rainy weekend here, which is unfortunate because it is the unofficial start to summer, and a lot of people have plans outside for Memorial Day weekend. So just be aware you're going to have to plan around at least some rainfall, especially as we get into Sunday and Monday. Saturday looking like our driest day at this point. And we could see a good amount of rainfall as we go through the Memorial Day weekend. We could pick up anywhere between 1 to 2 inches of rain. Can't completely rule out maybe a pocket closer to 3 inches, especially if you're caught underneath a heavier shower or a thunderstorm. And looking beyond what we can expect for the end of this week and heading towards the end of the month here, Climate Prediction Center shouting us out again for below average temperatures. So that means temperatures are getting down into the 60s and 70s again, even through the end of the month. And it looks like our weather pattern may be trending a little bit on the drier side as well. So this is all great news if you are weather weary. And the storms so far this spring have really taken a lot of energy out you. Hopefully we can start to get back to a more normal pattern here, cooler temperatures, maybe a little bit drier. Not saying we're going to be bone dry, but at least it won't be, one after another, after another, after another, like what we've been dealing with there. So that's promising towards the end of the month, especially if you're a fan of the cooler, more settled weather, which I am also a fan of. So let me go ahead and take this full screen so that you guys can get a better look at it. There's a look at your 7-day forecast. Don't mind the Memorial Day icon. That is supposed to be moved over to Monday, so apologies for that. But here we are today. We'll stay dry through the rest of the afternoon. Tomorrow we'll top out only in the upper 60s, so much cooler than average. We'll see a return of some sunshine or mostly sunny skies for Friday, topping out at around 70. Saturday, driest day of the weekend, but still could catch an isolated shower. Our wettest days are definitely going to be Sunday and into Monday. That's where we have the best chance for widespread rain and even some embedded thunderstorms, but at least for right now, the severe weather threat is pretty minimal or very, very low. And then as we get towards the middle of next week, temperatures will remain in the lower 70s. So that is all I have here for the forecast. I am going to hop off the live stream here and I'll send you guys over to 14 News at 4, 5, and 6 for all the latest news and weather headlines. And of course, we'll be back here on All Streaming at 9 o'clock tonight. That'll be with Jeff Lyons. And of course, he'll be back on air again at 10 o'clock later tonight. So that's where you can get all your latest weather and news for the rest of the day today. I'm going to hop off. I'll send you guys out for the rest of your Wednesday afternoon. For the rest of the day, enjoy it and stay safe.